Good afternoon, and welcome to the Board of Health meeting of February 24th, 2025. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025. This meeting of the Chatham Board of Health is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, and the conference ID is 765-361-228#. Or they may join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Channel 8 and 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting to the town's website as soon as possible. Now I'll turn the meeting over to our chairman, Dr. Noble Hanson.
Thank you. It shall be the policy of this board to conduct its meetings under the open meetings law so as to encourage public participation whenever time permits and as part of agenda items discussion. So we'll first establish a quorum, and when I call your name, please say present. Carol Boyce.
Present.
John Beckley.
Present.
Dick Edwards.
Present.
Ron Weiser.
Present.
And Joanna Kale.
Present.
And Noble Hanson present. So today, Ron will be up as an active member to vote. And we have 4 items originally on the agenda. And first item, show cause hearing, expired operation and maintenance contract for IA Technology System, Philip Majera and Jacqueline Serafino, 35 Spring Hill Road. And Judy has an update on that.
Yes, I was able to get in touch with the owner of the property, and they had gotten my letter. They hadn't responded, so I wasn't sure. But they did get my letter, and they got a contract for the property at, what was the address on that? 35 Spring Hill. So they're all set. I have a copy of a signed operation and maintenance contract, so
It's all set
yeah, it's all set for now.
until next year.
Well, yeah, usually a 2-year contract, but we'll see.
Okay, good.
All right, so that item's all set. And then next on the agenda is various hearing and approval of IA Technology for 0 John Street LLC, 34 John Street, Clark Engineering. David Clark is here to present the case.
Good afternoon, David Clark, Clark Engineering, on behalf of the Joyce family. This is a lot in West Chatham off of Ridgeville Road. It's a little over 20,000 square feet. So under the current regulations, they're allowed to ask for an extra bedroom with the use of IA technology. So we provided a site plan and septic design showing a 3-bedroom design with IA technology.
They muted.
Pardon me?
What was that? Somebody, she had her mic open. She muted herself.
Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so it is new construction, 21,224 square foot lot, and 1 extra bedroom by use of IA technology is the variance request. And any questions or comments from the board? Dick?
Well, I have to say I'm perplexed as to how to deal with this variance request. It clearly is designed, the design of the building, to meet the absolute regulations regarding the definition of bedrooms. But it appears to me that the intent is to house more people than a three-bedroom house would normally house. There's a 10 by 39 or 37-foot room labeled a bedroom with a queen-size bed at each end. And then there's a bonus room above the garage with a full bath, including a shower. And that room, in my opinion, since it's away from the rest of the house, and you have to go up these stairs to get to it, provides enough privacy to be used as a bedroom. So this really is a design to house as many people as a five-bedroom house in what is purported to be a three-bedroom house. And so, you know, regardless, I can't vote to approve this.
Yeah, it's the same old question of, you know, what is a bedroom? But one thing is, Judy, what are the rules about the open stairwell and privacy? I don't.
Well, I mean, we don't have anything set, but our policy's always been if it was open at the top and at the bottom, with an open rail or loft looking down, that we don't count it as a bedroom, because it doesn't, you know, really have
That's
privacy.
to prevent them from putting a door at the top of the stairs.
Nothing. Nothing is to prevent them from doing anything, except that we will have it as recorded as a three-bedroom house.
So the open stairwell thing is a precedent that we have. That's a precedent that we use all the time, but it's
Right.
not written in a rule, actually.
Right, I mean, in the, like, the large bedroom that Dick spoke about, again, it's, you know, it meets the definition of a bedroom. Yes, they're showing two big beds in there. If it was used as a short-term rental, they would still be limited to two people per bedroom, according to our regulations. So, and then when you count the total number of rooms and divide it by two, you really do come up with, I think, three, if you don't count the bathrooms. 1, 2, 3.
I have to say, I had the same thought as Dick. I mean, it's an amazing amount of house on a really, really small lot. And, I mean, there's 5 bathrooms in this house.
Yep.
And, you know, the basement, I mean, the basement looks for all the world like a couple of more bedrooms, and there's a bathroom down there as well.
Yep. Well, does this go into zoning?
No,
No.
complies. So how are you inventing 5 bedrooms?
I'm not saying 5 bedrooms, what I would say is it's 4 bedrooms, because I would call the room above the garage a bedroom, because it does provide, it is away from the rest of the house, and it's got a full bath with a shower, and there's no reason that I can think of to have a shower above your garage unless that's gonna be used as a bedroom. There are 4 other bathrooms in the house. There's plenty of- 5, you know, this, I mean, this is, in my view, this is an architect's attempt to put an extraordinary amount of sleeping space into a house and still be able to potentially call it a 3-bedroom house. But I can't do that. If they wanted to get rid of that shower in the, above the garage, then it might help. But with that shower up there, that's a bedroom. That's gonna be used as a bedroom. I'm sorry. And, you know, the reason we have a Board of Health is to have some discretion over these things, and to make decisions, to limit the number of people living in houses and the amount of waste. And, you know, this is, you know, I think this goes beyond what I could vote for.
Yeah, well, I had the same thought when I looked at it, the total number of bedroom-type space. But, we have a certain precedent, the way we've done things. We don't count bathrooms as part of the assessment of bedrooms. That's
No.
by precedent. So, to me, the question is, what do we do based on precedent, and what do we do based on just looking at what you see?
sense.
I do think it raises the question of whether we should have a discussion about firming up and tightening up our rules of what is a bedroom, and maybe putting in some language with discretion that's more specific in that whole thing for the future, because obviously you can kind of design around our rules pretty easily right now. And that would be for another time.
Well, there's no
I don't
written
know.
rules regarding stairways.
No,
The
but-
rule says if it has privacy. And if the room is at the other end of at the end of the house by the garage with a stairway going up, then, in my view, that, people could sleep up there without a problem. So I would call that a bedroom, I'm sorry.
Well, I agree it can be used that way, and we don't have any way to measure how things are being used after the fact, actually. We don't really inspect these. We do have the occupancy number, in addition to the bedroom number, as a way of limiting the whole thing. And to me, the question is, what do we do based on the precedent of what we've done in the past, and whether we get in a situation where we're changing things for this particular one, although I have the same concerns you have about the amount of bedroom sleeping space in this thing. But once it goes, we don't go in and inspect a house to see how many people are actually in there. It's never done.
Well, people can have as many people in the house as they want.
Yes.
I mean, you can bring your whole family down for the month of July and have 20 people in a 3-bedroom house on a 15,000 square foot lot. We can't stop that. But what we can do is prevent houses from being designed and built in order to make them able to accommodate more people than a lot of that size should normally accommodate.
Is there let me ask a theoretical, is there a cost benefit that the owner of a house accrues if their house is listed as 3-bedroom when in fact it's a phantom 5-bedroom?
I think the assessors use the total square footage to calculate they don't really count bedrooms. Like
So
it
the-
could be 3 or 4, it's not based on that. It's
Okay.
based on the square
So
footage.
there's no
habitable space.
tangible
So,
benefit.
yeah, a house
as-
like this is gonna, probably have a high value
Gotcha.
based
I
on
mean,
the size of it.
The intention is not to prevent somebody from bringing their grandkids and everybody down
Right.
for the entire month of July. I mean, we all want that. I think the thing that worries everybody is that, this appears on the surface to be a 3-bedroom house that looks more like a 5-bedroom house. And if it gets rented from April to October,
That can be caught, though, in other words.
well, that was gonna
We
be
could
my
put a
question.
red
We can-
flag on this
we can
property
catch that?
if we wanted to, and make sure we never see it rented.
We could even make that a condition of the approval.
Right.
We don't, it's a 20,000 square foot, with an IA, they usually get a third. If it was 10,000 square foot to 20,000 square foot lot, we would automatically make that condition if we were allowing the 3rd bedroom. So we could do that. I mean, or you can ask them to take the bathroom out. I'm not sure if we've done that before, but
We do have a rule about total number of rooms and a presumed number of bedrooms. I think it's total number of rooms divided by 2 rounded up is the presumed number of
Rounded
bedrooms.
down.
Rounded down is the presumed number of bedrooms. I don't think that includes basement rooms, probably.
well, I counted the basement rooms.
You count the basement rooms?
I do, yeah, if it's a finished
This
basement.
has 10 rooms, right?
I
I
counted
thought I
them as
counted
6.
10 rooms. Oh, no, no,
That's
there's
one
4 in the
child room
basement.
Basement, one.
If you count,
There's 4 in the basement.
Well, basement's wide open.
It's one big room, I
No,
think.
no, no, but you're talking about rooms. They list a gym, a yoga room, a family room, a sitting room, a simulator room.
golf simulator.
Yeah, but that's the old thing, because you write a name on it, doesn't make it a
Well-
room. We have other criteria for
Right,
that.
I mean, I counted that as one.
Yeah, I'd say that would have to be one room, two.
You keep tightening up your regulations, but every time I come here, you fantasize about rooms in houses.
Well-
None of the rooms in the basement can ever be a basement, be a bedroom by the building code.
No, no, we're not saying that. We're just counting the number of rooms in the house.
1, 2, 3.
But I would say that, based on precedent, this
6.
room above the garage, because it has this open
I get
stairwell, we
6.
don't count it as a bedroom. But I do think we probably should, and not everyone would agree, but we tighten up the rules, be more specific, maybe even with some more language about discretion or whatnot. That would be a discussion for another day.
I mean, I think our really only worry is that this doesn't end up becoming a gigantic rental property. I mean,
Right, well, you can-
it looks like a beautiful house, to be honest with you. I mean, I'd like to live there, but
Well, let's ask Mr. Clark, is it going to be used as a short-term rental? Would they have
No,
an?
nope. He's been trying to buy this property for over a decade, and the owner finally agreed to sell, and, because he's vacationed and stayed in this neighborhood for decades, and so it's, the intent
So,
of the house
yeah.
is for
So a short-term
vacation.
rental condition wouldn't be would be something we can do.
Until somebody says we can't do it, I guess.
I'd like to comment again on, I didn't realize this before, when Dick first mentioned it. The bedroom number 2, that's one long room.
Yeah.
And it shows a queen bed at each end. I mean, how long is this room? 30 feet? 30 feet, 40 feet?
35 feet.
So who has a bedroom that's 35 feet long and narrow and puts a bed at each extreme end?
Rental properties.
Or a person who wants to purport that a house has 3 bedrooms,
Right.
when it really is going to accommodate far more people than a 3-bedroom house should
It
accommodate.
stretches, what is it, credulity. It just doesn't,
I
it's
know,
not
that's, the whole
believable.
thing, it just
No, I
seems
mean,
to
I
be
don't
an architect
disagree.
saying,
It's not
this is
realistic.
what we're gonna do, see if you can stop us.
Right, but I think the question is, does it still comply with our rules or in our precedent? But what I say is, we probably should look at tightening up our rules, because
How do you-
this kind of things goes through. Now, they do have the 7-foot 4-inch space, and it has to be a 6-foot archway, or it creates privacy. We have that rule in there, so they've got around that one.
I don't think you can
But I think-
write regulations that cover every conceivable
Right.
Where's the
No.
7-foot space?
plan that an architect might present to you.
That's
What you-
closet, that's already in the room.
Right,
I
but
mean, we've seen,
4-foot archway, it would be a private one.
we've definitely seen, full bathrooms in bonus rooms before, and we've questioned them. I don't remember whether they removed them or not.
Remember doing that? Well, we also have the rule about the walkthrough. You can have 2 bedrooms, and if it's a walkthrough from the staircase to the inner bedroom, then that's only 1 bedroom by our rules, but it's 2 bedrooms, actually, on the plan.
Right.
So, I
I
mean,
mean,
I think,
it's not unusual to see a plan like this that would show 1 bed with a sitting area or a study at the other end of the room, but they're actually depicting it with a bed in it, so it does look a little suspect.
Right.
other questions or comments? Carol, any?
I think the bonus room is a bedroom.
Can be
I would
used.
consider that a bedroom.
Right, so it's even the stairway and the open stairway, we have, because of that, we have said it lacks privacy. That's been our old rule, but,
How does it lack privacy? What is it open to?
It opens to the mudroom at the bottom of the stairs, and that also opens out into the garage,
Yeah.
maybe? No.
Usually
Oh,
the
yeah.
staircase opens into,
It opens
you know,
out into
a
the
living room or a
garage.
hallway in the main house or something, but this one sort of opens in the upper.
There's a powder room too at the bottom of the stairs. That's 6 bathrooms.
Well, I mean, I agree with, you know, what it looks like. My thought is whether it follows the rules we've used in the past. I think we may need to change the rules, but I don't know if that's a discussion for the future kind of thing. But I do think we need to tighten up the rules because, you know,
Well, how would we, I think we all,
You can't
Feel-
anticipate everything.
we all feel kind of uncomfortable about the bonus room. How would you tighten the rules up to make that a bedroom? What would we do
to make it,
to make that,
it'll
declare
be called a
that?
bedroom. I
Why
guess,
would you put a full bath with a shower in a bonus room above the garage if you're not planning to use it as a bedroom?
Right.
right, we've
I
never.
mean, it just
That's common
defies
sense.
credulity.
We've
So,
never-
that alone, regardless of whether there's an open staircase or there isn't, people, you know, it's at the other end of the house, there isn't a lot of traffic at the bottom of that stairway. In my view, it's a bedroom, and so I won't vote for it.
Yeah, I guess, we haven't used the bathroom before, but we could, we have some discretion, I guess, is it,
Well, we've said that rooms that have full baths with showers, you know, are more likely to be bedrooms than a library, in the past.
I've seen a lot of rooms like this, and they end up becoming a game room for when the grandkids come. Everybody go up to the bonus room, watch television, play games.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. But why do you need to have a full bath and shower if you're gonna have that as a game room for the grandkids?
No, it's obvious to
so if it
me
was changed,
what the-
if it was changed to a powder room, you'd be more comfortable with it?
Yeah.
Just a toilet.
Yeah, just
Think
a
of-
lavatory and a toilet, you know, a powder room, not a full bath.
So
They have
if
5
we
other
change,
full bathrooms.
so in order to move this along, if you could approve it, subject to the Judy receiving revised plan showing that becoming a powder room?
Bath 4 become a powder room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It sounds like that
I would-
would sort of
find that acceptable.
tilt it over. Other comments on that idea, that offer? Making the full bath a powder room. Okay.
That's a-
I think the other thing we have never had in our rules, it doesn't, you know, it's not, I'm not gonna apply here, but the size of a room that's called a bedroom, I mean, there's no upper limit to what size room might be just one bedroom, but at some point you'd think that.
Well, again, sometimes people build rooms like that so they can have a study in part of it, or
Yeah.
a sitting area.
Yeah.
It's like a suite, but
So that's not for them. Okay, so, all right, well, that sounds like, does somebody want to make a motion that we approve this with the condition that the bath 4 becomes a powder room?
I would move that we accept this variance if the condition of the full bath being changed to a powder room is incorporated into the plans.
Bath number 4.
Yep.
And is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a second. Okay, and then is there public input on this variance for 34 John Street?
I don't see any hands up.
Okay, then maybe Judy can read the conditions and we can take a vote.
So we just added bathroom 4 to become a powder room. The applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 3 bedrooms and record this restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds and submit a copy of the deed to the Health Department. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham, through its Board of Health and/or Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, directs the connection of this property to the sewer when it becomes available. Throughout its life, the system shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement. The operation and maintenance agreement shall be for at least 1 year with any mass certified operator of the appropriate grade that has received training by the company on the operation of the system. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice per year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. The effluent shall be field tested in accordance with Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use, revised March 2015. In addition, a lab test of the effluent for total nitrogen to meet the performance standard of 19 milligrams per low shall be collected and analyzed by a certified lab. If any field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab and evaluation of the property by the operator within 30 days. After the required 2 years testing, application can be made to the board or its agent for review and possible modification of the monitoring requirements. The applicant agrees to apply a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including an as-built elevation with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the site will be allowed without further review by the board or its agent. And this variance is granted pursuant to the town of Chatham subsurface sewage regs and nitrogen loading regs, and is valid for 1 year from the date of the Board of Health approval. A permit must be issued and work commenced during that time period. That's it.
Okay, good.
Can we add a condition relating to the rental restriction?
If you want to
Yes.
change your year.
Now, should, no short-term rental restriction on the property?
I don't know if we would agree to that.
We'll put a restriction that if it is rented, it shall be rented as a 3-bedroom.
That I don't think we'd have a problem with, because,
In other words,
They'd have a maximum of six
yes.
occupants.
8. It would be 8.
8.
Yeah, just put a restriction overtly there.
Okay.
If this property is ever rented as a short-term rental, that it shall not be rented
Yep.
for more
And
than,
also, just so you know, we've just started adding, connecting the, or attaching the deed restrictions to the property in our assessors. We work with the building department. We have one place where all the properties are listed, and we now have flags on all the deed restricted properties, so that when they get something in, they can see that, and
good.
and then we work together on those. But we're starting to do that, you know, when we pull anything with a deed restriction, we attach it right to the
Well,
document.
that's good.
Yeah,
So we'll add a note on this.
yep, I put that as,
Even without that covenant, it could only be rented as a
Exactly.
3-bedroom.
Right.
Because
Just makes it
because
overt.
it's approved as a 3-bedroom.
right,
So
Yep.
that's
okay,
building the lily, kind of.
Right.
So, Mr. Clark, you said that they didn't intend to use it as a short-term rental, but you're not prepared to say that they'd accept the no short-term rental restriction condition?
correct.
Because you never know what the future
Well,
brings.
right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so, and I've been told that if we have virtual meetings, we need to take all roll call votes. So, I'll take a roll call vote, and if you're in favor of the variance, say aye. Carol Boyce,
Aye.
John Beckley,
Aye.
Dick Edwards.
Aye.
Ron Weiser,
Aye.
Noble Hanson, aye. Okay, so that variance is granted for, with the conditions for 34 John Street.
Thank you.
Okay.
thank you, David.
Thank you. The next item is an update on 32 Mill Hill,
Okay,
and Drew's going to give us the update. The court, the Superior Court proceeding was on February 4th, and Judy can fill us in on that. Some of it's still, I think, well,
so,
there's also some
you, I
private
think,
stuff.
I think I gave you all copies of the judge's decision, which clearly states that he has to either comply with our regulation, our orders, all of them, not just the health departments, or the town can, they can do one of two things. We can decide that we want to go against, for a contempt charge, which would cause him to be arrested, but it wouldn't help us clean the property up. So, then the second choice would be to clean it ourselves. Right now, he had a 30-day appeal period, which will be the end of next week, it should be up. And then, assuming he's not appealing it, then we're gonna have the select board will probably make a decision, I'm assuming, in support of going in and cleaning up the property, and we'll have to meet with staff and,
How does that work, step by step?
well,
process?
that's something we're gonna have to work out, but, the lawyer did suggest that we first send, him a letter stating that we were going to enter upon his property. And then we would go in and kind of do an inventory, which I think you had mentioned in the past, and see, what needs to go, which in my mind is most of it, but, we don't really know till we get kind of on the property. And then we'll have to put it out to bid, to somebody to go and clean it up, so,
And then you'd seek through the bid process, you'd seek quotes
yes,
from competent vendors.
yeah,
And then, but in order for a vendor to give an informed price, they have to have a very clear understanding of specifically what am I quoting on here. And that's where you get involved in
Right.
either using spray paint or tape or flagging sometime, or orange cones. You have to have a way to define areas that fall within the targeted cleanup zone.
yep.
And then any exceptions, otherwise it's everything there.
I mean, we definitely would need to go in and kind of,
Cause that's a
I
challenge.
think once we start taking stuff off the top, we're gonna find stuff underneath, there's layers of
I mean,
stuff there.
this is a very,
Yeah.
very detailed process. We're gonna, more detailed than we think.
I mean, when we did the street area, we just took everything, because it was on town property. And part of it's still on town property now, because it's encroached back to the guardrail, the barrier that we put up. So anything on town property, we would take all of it. I don't know, yeah, it's gonna be a learning,
I mean, a vendor could come in there with a big truck, with a big arm that went out, 30 feet, and with a claw, that could pick up and load a dump truck with debris. And then they're gonna have to send men down there to do the
yeah, I mean, I would hope that they would take the scrap metal, because there's a lot of that. And,
And there
separately,
should probably be videos of everything, narration saying, I've never done this,
Me neither.
I'm just talking out loud, but I mean, I have this idea that
yeah,
in order for it to go properly, it has to be very detailed and prescriptive of what exactly the town wants.
My guess is that there are people out there who've done this and would have no difficulty
Okay, well,
looking at it and saying,
maybe we need to find such a person.
well, I know there's been some other cleanups in other towns, maybe not as bad as this, but, that groups have gone in there and cleaned it out.
That's an interesting idea, is, what you're suggesting is to actually bring in a cleanup consultant of some
Sure.
type.
Yeah.
Who's done this work.
There are unfortunately a fair number of hoarders out there. And I honestly, I don't think there'd be that much difficulty finding 2 or 3 vendors in southeastern Massachusetts that could come in and say, okay, I'll do this for $50,000 or whatever. One of the
But they've
questions,
gotta know what they're committing to.
again, I think if they've dealt with hoarders before, you know, they don't need to know how many old tires there are there.
They don't.
You know.
Yeah, I kind of agree that it might not need to be as
They probably go by the
precise as you
size
think,
of the lot.
Yeah.
because we don't really know what's there underneath the stuff on
And
top.
if you who gets to, what do you do with the stuff that they collect? We sell it, or does he own it, or what?
No.
He's gotta haul it.
Oh, no, we're taking it,
take
and
it.
I would, like I said, I would hope that scrap metal would get sold. I don't know if that would be part of the agreement
I
with
mean,
the
if you let
cleanup.
the vendor, if you let the vendor
Right,
take and sell whatever scrap metal they
right.
get,
Those are all details that would have to be
I
worked
think
out.
that they'd be more than happy to go in there kind of sight unseen.
If they can get a third of it back.
Yeah.
of their
That would be part of the request, you know, the RFP process, I think.
Yeah, when the roadway was cleaned up, I think it was Childs from Harwich did it. And he just went in and took everything that was on that piece of land. But what you say is true. The owner will probably, I mean, he has kayaks from his kayak business, he has lumber, he says is rebuilding his dock, he has boats he's restoring, and there'll be an argument about all kinds of specifics, and there has to be someone on site who's gonna arbitrate that and make the decision right there. Well, no, we're just taking it all. But a question for
I mean,
Judy
we
is,
would try and be reasonable and maybe not take his kayaks, but,
Right.
you know, if it's rotten wood, I mean, he points to a pile of wood and says, you know, I'm gonna use that, I'm gonna burn it, or, it's all rotted and wet.
Well,
the- the-
and,
the
you know,
Mass
It's been there
DEP
for 30 years, some of it, I think.
Mass DEP says that wood would have to be stacked and sorted in such a way to be,
Right,
to have, for him to
organized,
be able to
and
say
that's
something
not gonna
like that.
happen unless he does it, so.
Did everyone on the board get a copy of this final judgment? Yeah,
Email.
okay. And then it also, importantly, it calls for maintenance,
That's important.
the maintenance. So it gives the town the right to go and maintain it. But my question for Judy is, so the next step, I think, was the attorney was going to meet with the select board in executive session about sorting this out. But
Right.
there's a bunch of town departments, and the health department, the board of health, and so, but who's chairman of this committee now? Does it by default become the select board is sort of?
There isn't really, I mean, at this point, we were just waiting for the 30-day appeal, and then there would be, the staff would regroup, and I think then it would be presented to the select board, and I'm not sure if it would be an executive meeting or not.
Right.
And then the question always is, okay,
executive
what's the estimate of when the actual cleanup will occur? Last time we asked, I think, Mr. Tallerman that question, it was November. So,
Well, the quotes,
I mean,
the RFPs would have to would have to specify.
Right. I mean, now I'm
What the-
thinking the earliest would be, you know, sometime in the summer. I mean, I can't, if we
Is there-
get something,
well, the 30 days would bring us to the beginning of March,
right,
and then bids.
April, May, maybe
Is there a
June.
reason to
walkthrough.
or not to do this work before the plants come out? You know, in other words, is there
Right.
an advantage?
We can
of-
see more now.
Yes, that's
Yes.
my point. Is it easier to approach a cleanup in the winter versus the summer or early summer when everything is,
I think, you know, they're gonna come in with big machinery and just pull stuff out,
I
so,
think it's not gonna make a difference.
I don't know.
But I think now it falls to your committee, Board of Selectmen, Town Council are gonna sort of make the decisions, but personally, what I would say is, the timetable is still important. When's the final date? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
And why
Soon as
couldn't
I
it be in?
know, I'll
and why
tell you.
couldn't it- I mean, I would push it and say, why couldn't it be in
90
2 or 3
days.
months?
Yeah,
Yeah.
90
Why-
days
why
within
does
the
it have to take
contract
longer than
being.
that? But,
well,
I mean,
we could send a memo to the select board and request that we, you
Have they
know.
had a meeting with the
No,
attorney yet?
No, we're waiting for the appeal period to be up, and then,
Okay.
and then we're gonna take the next
Uh,
step. Everything
we-
takes
well, we-
process and time.
I think the town would be very grateful if we could do this faster than later.
Absolutely, the neighbors.
And the abutters who are trying to rent properties on that street,
We've-
who have prospective renters run away when they
I-
see that property.
It'll probably take 2 to 3 weeks to prepare an RFP, and then I think you could get bids back within 30 days.
And then like 90 days to do the work.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings the question, Judy said, would some kind of a letter from us to pushing the timetable or requesting that it be done as soon as possible, would that be helpful for the?
I don't know.
Couldn't hurt, but, no. I mean, I think that
we put
they
on-
know that, you know, we're anxious to get this done, and I
So
can
our next-
certainly,
Our next meeting is when? It's,
March 17th. We can put it back on the
yeah,
agenda.
why don't we do that? Put it back on the agenda for March 17th, just a quick one, a quick little thing, a follow-up, and then we can, by that time, you'll have your meeting and it'll all be settled.
Hopefully.
No, I'm just,
Well, I'll be cleaned up.
well, I think part of what it is just constantly keeping it in the forefront and sort of push.
And we've got to be very
It's
careful
been years.
that however this works, that we don't end up having a ton of debris that's currently on the Mill Hill property, ending up down on the property at the river.
Barnhill Lane.
Well, and this is in a, within the 100-foot setback of the bank and all of that, so there may need to be like a conservation, administrative, you know, decision on, so there may be some requirements to put up, erosion barriers and such. So as we pull stuff out, we don't have everything just eroding down into the pond. I can talk to the conservation agent.
But what I'm talking
Talking about moving
I'm
stuff
talking
down
about,
to
you don't want
Barnhill
two
Lane
dumps.
landing
Oh,
property.
I'm
You
sorry.
don't want three
I was thinking,
three
yeah.
dumpsters of stuff that's currently at the Mill Hill property
Oh,
prior
yeah.
to being cleaned up. All of a sudden,
I mean,
it's
that's a-
gone.
right.
Now, it's been
That's
hauled
another
down
whole-
to the dock.
But that's something to make the committee aware of.
He will move
He
some
already-
stuff
he
down
already
there.
is. That was an issue before, and
Yeah, he
Dr.
did that
Duncan
last
was
spring,
dealing with
so.
that because it was a waterfront thing.
Okay, so here's my question. Does the scope of our cleanup, can it include any things that has been moved from there? You see,
I mean,
you see
it's,
how
yeah,
complicated it becomes?
It's not, in the judge's decision, so,
Scope, yes.
yeah, we didn't address that, so that would be a separate thing. There isn't a lot of room for, I mean, he will move stuff down there,
I
but,
know there's not a lot of room.
yeah, so,
But we better have some good photographs and videotapes of what that property looks like
right,
beforehand, and then what it looks like as the cleanup date approaches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
right.
So we can say, this is clear that you have moved this debris from Mill Hill down to the river. Now, this is, stuff needs also to be cleaned. I wish we could chase it and pick it up and haul it out at the same time, but I don't know whether legally you can do that.
Yeah, I don't.
It came up before, but how come there are no signs that say no dumping? Is that something the town can do to prevent further? Because it's obvious that people that go and dump stuff there.
I mean, the town can, I don't know why we haven't done that. I know there's been some discussion, so,
Something to
moving
bring up at the
forward.
meeting there.
How's
Yeah.
it look down there now at his canoe rental place?
Oh, down there? I haven't been down there, in a few months, probably.
I mean, does it look operationally okay for the next season, or is it all cluttered now?
No, I mean, I know the harbor master has some issues with, some harbor master items like docks that aren't registered correctly and things like that. So I think there's gonna be some more
Focus now.
focus on that moving forward. And the, you know, last time I was down there, we didn't have a ton of junk down there,
He did not,
no,
okay.
because it flooded and it all floated up, and then he went in and the road was all blocked, and then he went in and kind of cleaned some of it out, and it probably went back to Mill Hill, so I don't know that for
I
sure.
think, that road down there is an easement too, it's not,
Yeah,
it's not like.
everybody
property.
owns
It's an
like
easement and
right up to Barn Hill Road,
It's complicated.
so there's a driveway easement across the
But
property.
that's not a part of all what we've been dealing with, that's a separate issue. Dr. Duncanson had been handling that because it was a waterfront thing, so I don't know what the status is now.
Yeah, the Conservation Department is in on all of this, so we're, moving forward, the harbor master, we're keeping an eye on him.
We don't have to worry about debris on Mill Hill that's on the slope, which will be the main focus for cleanup. We don't have to worry about that debris getting hauled 200 or 300 yards away on his property to another location, do we?
I don't know. I mean, I guess when we get on there, we could see. I don't think he has the means to really
I
haul
was just
stuff.
gonna say, I mean, that,
Yeah,
I'm just,
I think his whole approach is just take and dump.
right.
yeah,
He's real good at moving
Yeah.
discreetly.
Okay,
so,
so that's
He-
probably
he-
not gonna be a
He
concern.
does have two large trailers that are full of junk.
Right?
I don't think they're registered.
no.
One of them had a flat tire. But it would be an issue, do you come in and just remove those trailers? I'm sure he'll say you can't, but, I mean, that's a decision. I think you're just gonna remove the trailers with all the stuff or leave them there. Because, I think the trailers are where he should be parking his truck. He parks it in a little space that's actually the walkway.
Well, that's his driveway, I
Yeah.
think,
Well,
where the
the
walkway is.
I think the
When you look
driveway-
on the site plan, that was designed as the driveway,
I
but
think the driveway is where the trailers are
they
now.
did leave yeah,
Little
and then they
walkway.
blocked one trailer in
Yeah.
because he didn't move.
That's a great question. As part of the scope of the cleanup, or the trailers themselves being hauled away as
Yep.
well? We better
Yep.
get,
And he should have space where he can park his truck off the road, which his truck, it really isn't off the road right now, it's really
Yeah,
sort of partly on. Okay, other questions, or,
so,
I
yeah,
think that's a
well,
lot for your, so we'll put it on the agenda
I'm-
for the next meeting, maybe,
hopefully
we
by
will
then
have her
we'll have
meeting
met
and-
at the staff level and we'll have kind of a.
and then,
idea
and then
of how
how,
to forward.
maybe we'll map out exactly how you're gonna go forward, but time is still important.
I guess
The
if
big
the
issue
trailers
is-
are not registered, they can be considered junk.
Or else you
It's
could just-
trash.
or else you could
There
just
is
empty them
there
out.
is a bylaw that I think you're allowed no more than one unregistered vehicle on your property, or maybe it's two, I'd have to double check, but
The town attorney will deal with all that
it's-
stuff too, I
it's
think.
on town property, so maybe,
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Other
right.
questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the public on 32 Mill Hill Road? And if not, then we can move on to item number 4, which is a follow-up on the transfer station odor and floor issue problem. And
So,
Judy has an update from that.
just for our new members, this has been a common, complaint every summer, usually around August when it gets really humid and humid. We'll get a few neighbors, or one will call and say, oh, it's really smelly out there, and, the odor's bad, and, it's come to us, we had come up with a system where they're supposed to be cleaning the, tipping floor once a month or every 3 weeks, and spray washing it, but it's gotten to the point now, that the floor can't be really cleaned. I don't know if any of you saw Rob Faley's, presentation to the select board, and I encourage you to watch it from last week. Each section, you can click on it, so you don't have to watch the whole meeting, you can go right to his presentation. And he did have a picture of the tipping floor, which has exposed rebar. It's in very, very poor condition, and I can see why they're not really able to effectively clean it. So his presentation was in support of his budget request for the upgrades to the transfer station. He's actually looking for a free cash appropriation. They had already appropriated some funding, and that's what they've been moving forward with, the upgrade of the staff, that building as you drive straight in, that's been, some of the money was used for that. But they went back to the drawing board, and that's where they're at now. They're gonna rearrange redesign for better flow and efficiencies, the whole layout of the transfer station. They are keeping the blue building, and part of the money he's asking for is to rehab a new concrete floor. and they're gonna relocate the swap shop, they're gonna, there's gonna be two, lanes, double-sided for, the recycling area, so you can come in and go like this, or you can go around, and, you know, it's gonna be much more easy to make your way around. The swap shop's gonna be moved out closer to the road. So,
You
they've
know
got,
what is going in that steel building that they're constructing now?
that's gonna be,
Big building.
staff building, offices. new
Much
staff,
bigger than the one that
bathrooms.
they're replacing, so.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you ever saw where they worked out of, it was horrendous, like, and it's been horrendous for 20 years that I've been here, so this is long overdue for them to have a real place to work. So the select board was very supportive, very much mentioned the Board of Health concerns and the odor issues and concerns. If it goes through in the budget, construction probably next winter, because, you know, they said completed by summer 2026, so, and they can't really work on it this summer. But once the season, you know, cools down, then they can go in and start doing the work. But again, I would suggest you look at the select board meeting, because he has a bunch of
How
PowerPoint.
would we get to that video?
If you go to the town's website
website.
and Chatham TV, they have links to all the meetings.
Watch this meeting.
You can watch this
You
meeting.
scroll to the bottom and it says, agenda items or internet stuff or something, and then something comes up and you go channel 18. And
Okay.
it comes up, which I think is 8 now, but
Cha-
it comes up and then you can get that specific Board of Health meeting and it's. the
But I'm looking for,
The select board meeting
Select
from
board.
All the
last,
meetings are on.
from a
All
week,
the
from
boards.
last Tuesday.
So the,
last Tuesday, okay, so that's what I'm looking for.
so the whole dump at once failed at town meeting, so they've done it
The
in pieces.
18th.
They've got the employee building, and now the next section
Thank you.
is the, doing everything but the tipping building, the blue building, they're gonna leave.
Yeah.
Except
The floor.
they are gonna redo the floor.
Gotcha.
And if that building is redone at some later point, the floor can still be used again, they haven't wasted the money.
Gotcha.
That's what that was what Mr. Faley talked to us about when he came.
Gotcha.
And so that was included in, we had written a letter on September
Alright.
25th in support of that, and I think they mentioned that, so I think maybe that was a
So
help.
we can look forward to one more summer of stinky odor complaints.
Well, can we
Yeah.
request that they power wash it more frequently? They're only power washing it every 2 months or so,
2 to
which
3 months,
seems absurd.
Yeah,
He implied it was
He
because.
said he didn't have enough staff.
yeah, I mean,
And
we
also more damage
definitely,
to the floor where the power wash.
Well, if it's gonna be replaced, you know,
yeah,
Absolutely, I think
we're
that's,
getting emails from people that live in the region
Yeah.
that
I
say
mean,
it stinks.
yeah.
You know, the day after the 4th of July weekend, it's awful.
yeah.
yep, so the
If you have a
timing is,
putrescimeter, that would be
Putrescence meter,
like the.
putressometer.
A putrescimeter would be
so
like.
it's gonna
peaky,
go
right?
into the town meeting as a warrant article for the money, which reminds me, so it's coming from free cash, the money? So it's not a bond, so it's gonna be just a majority vote, simple majority vote to pass?
Yeah, he
I
said,
think that's what it is.
I think, yeah,
Which
I
means it
don't,
probably will pass
he
it.
said it's a free cash appropriation, and the floor itself is $408,000.
Okay,
And then it gets passed, then bids go out in the summer,
yeah.
construction starts in the fall, the construction will be over the winter, so summer after this, it will be done, except
nice,
the whole
okay.
building will be there. But
Good.
so at some point, yeah, I think a reminder, or have Mr. Faley come back or something about what's gonna be the plan now that you have a new floor, of keeping it clean.
Well, he says that with the new floor, his scraper, you know, the squeegee thing that they have on the front of the front end loader
there'll be
will
a-
be much more effective.
Right.
Right now, the squeegee just leaves all the
Everything in.
garbage in the holes around the rebar, and then they have to go in and try to power wash that stuff out.
Floor's concave now, you know, it's hollowed out in the middle.
Yeah, it's long overdue. The other topic that you were interested in was the whole commercial haulers.
Yes.
And our regulations, which are actually Board of Health regulations, state that commercial haulers, they're allowed to dump there, but they are only allowed to dump waste from Chatham residences or businesses. However, it's very difficult to enforce that. So, in that, I did talk to Rob, but he said, it's just hard to enforce.
Why can't we have the drivers sign a certification statement before they dump? In other words, let's make them lie. In other words, I don't mean it that way.
Yeah,
What I mean is make them attest to the origin of what they're hauling, so that if we ever want to do an investigation of any type, we know that we've got them on record as representing
Yeah.
a certain.
we could look into that. I'm not sure whether
I
we have
think-
to
I think-
change our regs, or we could just do it through,
But I think that's a good idea.
Agreement.
He says he can't check, but I think if you ask all the commercial haulers to read through a sheet, check off all the attestations of what they're doing
Yeah.
everything correctly, and sign on the bottom, at least some of them will follow that.
Yes.
But the important thing, Mr. Faley said that the town of Brewster does not allow commercial dumping in
take
their
any.
transfer station.
a lot of local towns don't.
If we assign one member of the Board of Health to go to the transfer station and look at the trash, and there's a big bag of Brewster Fish House fish heads,
Well, I think we could
then we have a problem.
some sort of a rotation where we follow the trash haul all around and see if he's
Right.
going to other towns. But presumably,
need an
the
undercover
other thing
vehicle.
that's said, and I don't know if it's true, is that Chatham is cheaper than some other towns, so the trash kind of comes in this direction.
Okay.
So my concern, just me thinking, we don't want to become a regional
Yes.
transfer station.
The opposite
So
of
that's
that.
something to keep an eye on. But Judy said, the Town of Chatham Board of Health regulation governing the solid waste disposal facility is a Board of Health set of regulations. I didn't know about them. And in that, it does clearly say that it's trash only from the town of Chatham. And it does say this whole thing is under the supervision of the Board of Health. So we have, we have a responsibility to make sure that this
Well-
commercial hauling is, to the extent it can be, being done or not
So
done.
maybe, just a thought, if we were going to make an effort to reestablish a level of control and expectation in this area, I could see a letter going out to all of the haulers who we know on occasion or regularly come to our facility, and remind them of what the regulations, the pertinent regulations are, and then advise them that as of a certain date, the town of Chatham will be gathering signed, whatever you want to, signed statements or signed declarations or what
We
have you.
could probably add that
Could we add it
to our, because we actually permit or we license the rubbish haulers.
We do.
Yeah,
Would that
Well, we
require
could add a new provision.
yeah, let me look at that, I'll look at that.
whether we
for
would
moving
make an
forward.
amendment to these regulations,
Yeah,
and that there
Once
be,
you
like
call-
a short-term rental, right, there's a long sheet that they sign.
Mm-hmm.
Similar thing that the commercial haulers would all sign, and then
You'll
there'd be
get-
some oomph behind it.
You'll get the majority of compliance voluntarily if you frame it that way. And that at least narrows your.
there aren't that many commercial haulers that use it.
Can we fine?
9 or 10?
Do we have the ability to fine?
To what?
Find them.
Administrative
Probably
penalty?
do.
I would guess we do.
There's probably a penalty.
We have not updated these regulations since 2008. Excuse me, 2008, I think.
Is it easy to send this out to all the
Oh,
members?
yeah, I'll share it with
So we'll
everybody.
send this out, people can look at it, because I think some kind of amendment here that does what John was talking about is a good idea. Put a little extra pressure on things.
It should be very easy just to send them
Revised,
something
2008 last.
and indicate that a fine of whatever will be levied in the event of noncompliance.
Right,
We can do
Right.
that. Yeah.
They just need to attest that all the trash brought to Chatham was collected in Chatham.
Correct.
And I think we should ask that the COO, CEO of the organization sign it. I mean, you don't want somebody low level.
No, we could, yeah.
Have a consent agreement. You know,
Judy, let me ask you,
You know,
is there some
criminally
other
liable.
central place where a town can bring their trash that's not a
Would get
town
their
transfer
attention.
station? Is there some off
They-
Cape
It
or
would
some
have to be
other?
regional, I think Bourne, is a regional, they take, construction debris from all over the Cape. I'm not sure, Yarmouth might as well. I'd have
As long
to
as we're
double
not
check on
being
that,
a dumping ground,
so.
Okay, so,
we're getting the money too.
Judy's gonna look into it, and then at some future point, we'll put it as an agenda item to bring up for discussion again, but I think
To revisit it. Okay.
reviewing these regulations and thinking about adding something, addressing what John brought up is a good idea, I think, personally. Okay, good. And the questions or comments or input from the public? Okay, and then we have minutes from February 3rd.
I'll make a motion, we accept the draft minutes from February 3rd.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, and one thing that came up on those minutes is this issue of the increase in the short-term rental regulation fee. They're gonna triple it to pay for a new member in the building department to do inspections, what has nothing to do with us. So the issue, and this is a Judy problem,
I think we ought to hit the pause button and let Judy
the
go do what
increased
she
short-term
needs.
rental regulation fee to pay for the new extra building inspector person.
What about it?
We talked about it in the minutes here.
Yeah, I
And that's
think-
still an open issue, because there was some objection to why the short-term rental fee should be used to pay for a position in another department, someone in the building department.
Well, again, the money goes into the general fund, so the town can use it however they want. They do feel that we should raise it to $150. Seems like a large jump, but that we would have to,
Who's they? Who's they?
the select board. We would
Because
have to
an inspector
revise our
is not cheap.
regulations to raise the fee that much.
A certified building inspector will come with a significant salary
Yeah,
that we will have to offset.
But I still, Noble and I made a commitment a couple of years ago to that working group, that we were gonna try and protect the interest, everybody's interest at that time. That the fees that we were gonna charge, we
we're gonna
could,
be nominal, yep.
that we could keep, we could show how those fees were driven by the cost to the Board of Health of providing the administrative oversight and the field inspections and whatever else was gonna be. And I'd like to continue to be able to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think once, if it gets approved in the budget for next year, then we'll have to, we have to figure out how many properties they're gonna have to inspect, because there's a question of, what, if it's owner occupied, it doesn't need to be inspected. So we need to find out what that means, what the definition of owner occupied is. It might be far less properties than we are thinking, you know?
And who decided annual?
The state.
It's
It's a
state building
mandate.
code
It's
regulation,
an unfunded mandate.
unfunded mandate.
But I think
State.
John's issue about the fee itself, I feel the same way he does. I think it's an unresolved issue for us, so this may be a discussion, we have to have it another time.
Oh, yeah.
No more, but I wouldn't just say automatically you can triple that I would agree with tripling the STR fee to pay for the building inspector person, because that working group worked very hard to make a compromise that passed, and part of it was the negotiation of the fee, and that low fee was part of the whole agreement.
Yes.
So I think if it just gets tripled, and it's the Board of Health that's tripled it, I don't feel good about that.
Right. I
But
feel
that's-
like I'm
it's-
sucker
I think this is a
punching
discussion we better get more information and bring it back, but I would just leave it, it's an open,
Yes,
unsolved thing.
right.
But if we don't fund a building inspector, then we have to close down all the short-term rentals in town.
Yeah, they don't know.
I
No,
don't
Okay,
think they
so-
like that.
no.
All right, so,
It's not-
and then, can we,
They're gonna lose money too.
can we get a motion to approve the minutes of February
We didn't,
23rd?
we didn't vote on the meeting. Oh, we're doing it right
Yeah,
now.
motion.
Motion.
He made a
I
motion.
made a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second, okay, we'll vote to approve the minutes of February 3rd. And I have to take a roll call vote, I think. Carol?
Approved.
John?
Aye.
Dick?
Dick,
Ron?
approved.
Approved?
Noble, approved, okay. All right, and then I think we can adjourn the meeting, and I'll take a roll call vote, or you get a
I'll make a motion to
Second.
adjourn.
Second to adjourn?
And then, Carol?
Oh,
Yes?
Vote.
yes.
John?
Yes.
Dick?
Yes.
Ron? Noble?
Yes.
Okay, we are adjourned. Turn off your